It has been said that diamonds are a girl's best friend. Well, that's not something that many will refute. This is a passion that a generation across India is just about acquiring. And that's surprising in a country where the official domestic jewelry market is estimated to be to the tune of 300,000 crores. And gold is India's largest import after crude oil. Now, while gold might be the quintessential Indian obsession, over the last decade, diamonds are gradually getting there, thanks in part to this. A bevy of Bollywood beauties telling you why their sparkling gems, in a sense, define them.
I believe in me.
The man behind this in-your-face splash, or let's say sparkle of diamonds, is Mehul Choksi. His company, GITANJALI Gems, today has over 60 brands of jewelry, mostly diamonds, under it and across the world. What's more, he's one of the biggest advertisers in India. Interestingly, the story of GITANJALI Gems as we know it began quite recently, and even Mehul didn't quite think it would get so far.
Neither did I predict that it would be so successful, to be very honest, But we started with the branding game way back in 1994. We gave India, the country's first brand, Jili, as then. The idea was then that the gold decontrol happened then. And we thought that the laws of the land allowed everything easy. Everything was very easy to roll it out in a modern form. So we rolled it out just as a, just in department stores. The first department store was Akbar Ali's, I remember. And, it was so difficult business because they didn't even know how to hold jewelry or how to sell jewelry. And in the first couple of years we thought that, it's a very, very difficult. It never will add up to the numbers.
But at that time, did you rethink your plans and say that maybe this is not the best thing to do?
Well, it was never, branding is such a business that you always get involved and you never want to leave that particular part. But of course, the people around us were always making fun that possibly that this is not the right business that we are getting into, or it will never earn money as such.
Mehul, of course, proved his critics wrong. If the new glitzy departmental stores and the hundreds of thousands of aspiring Indians it attracted added a new market for branded jewelry, GITANJALI also rode a couple of waves. The first was its partner De Beers. In the early 90s, the world's largest diamond conglomerate decided to test waters in India, and what followed was the emergence of a whole new range of offerings.
We were very aggressive in branding along with De Beers at that time, because De Beers came in and they wanted to promote diamonds in the country. So they participated with us in a number of our brands. And to be very honest, that today where diamond is only because of that communication that we created.
So De Beers, actually you rode the wave of De Beers coming in.
Oh yes, absolutely. We were first, and we told De Beers that you should enter into India. And they came along with us in a number of brands. So the brands were owned by De Beers, many of them like Nakshatra, Ashmi, Sangini. They were rolled out by De Beers, and we were one of the participants in marketing then.
So where did De Beers get the idea of Nakshatra? Because Nakshatra is rooted in a very Indian concept of the 7 constellations or 7 stars. I don't know, you've spoken about it in the past, yeah.
But basically De Beers wanted to attack India as a market, and we were there as a brand already. And they just thought that to create a demand, they wanted to create demand for diamonds. And that's why they rolled out these brands. Of course, they studied the market and they came out with this beautiful idea of constellation, because that was one thing that India, all over India, there would be one thing, that flower thing that everybody would be having. So they went around branding the whole thing around that particular. Nakshatra was their first brand. The whole idea was with astrology and this thing, that it will bring you luck if you wear this. And they started off.
So they had a finger on the pulse of India, so to say.
Absolutely.
But did you learn a lot from De Beers? And what have you learned from them?
Absolutely. It was a learning together. Possibly they also learned a lot from us, and we also learned a lot of us. The entire marketing we learned a lot from them. Fixing up your target customer and communication, what you should do for each brand that we did for Ashmi, is that how Ashmi is different from Nakshatra, or how Sangeet is different from other brands. Those time I remember very well that in India there were nearly 700,000 jewelers, as many as that, but 99% were a gold jeweler. And today probably we have 70,000 or 80,000 jewelers as a diamond, selling diamond jewelry too. This is all the power of nothing else but advertising and communication. In today's total jewelry market, diamond has about 25% share. Compared to then, it was hardly even 1 or 2% of the total market.
Tell me something, if De Beers hadn't decided to come to India and go and make a big splash, do you think the diamond business would have been as big as this, or would you have been perhaps a more traditional player in diamonds?
Well, I would always recognize that whatever De Beers did, it helped a lot. But De Beers went out about 3 or 4 years before, and GITANJALI is the largest advertiser today throughout the country.
From De Beers, Choksi clearly learned the art of creating a brand and marketing it. But the natty businessman in him also zeroed in on the best way to do it, by roping in the stars and riding the popularity of Bollywood into India.
We ride on Bollywood as such. It's just that brand will be known the second day. And you know, the Bollywood and cricket, there are a couple of things which inspires the Indians like anything, and that was the reason. So when you have to roll out a brand throughout the country, like FMCG, you have to be on television. You have to be in the multilingual in each city as far as magazines are concerned. So this is how we attacked the people.
The moment you have the spread of stars that you have, Mehul, I'm scared to ask what the bill is of endorsements alone. So is this the model where if you're so dependent on the branding, that you will have a high cost model, and how do you make money? Because a lot of people have tried to play the volumes game in India and not succeeded.
When you have so many brands to be produced, the economy of scale comes into play. And many a times even the endorsement and the stars want to be with the first brands of the country rather than any third or the fourth brand as such. Today we are the largest advertiser in the print media. Not as a jewelry as a category, but among anything, even above the FMCG too. We are the largest. You know, one of the newspaper quoted us as 2% of the print advertising is done by my company, in fact.
With net sales of 9,500 crores in 2011, GITANJALI has come a long way. But while the first phase of its journey has been about riding multiple waves and cashing in on it, there has been a parallel move to create an end-to-end integrated company, making it one of the biggest players in the jewelry business across the world. More on that when we return. It's a well-known fact that India, in fact Surat in Gujarat, has been at the heart of the global diamond trade for decades. Thanks in good part to a few ingenious traders, mostly from a small town on the Gujarat-Rajasthan border, Palanpur, discovering an opportunity. The art of cutting and polishing small scraps of diamonds chipped off during the time the diamonds were polished. This fine art created a virtual sensation as Indian diamond polishers and cutters made small sparkling diamonds affordable to many. It's a testimony to their success that today 90% of the world's diamonds go through here. GITANJALI Gems and its head Mehul Choksi have their roots in this success. But somewhere in his late teens, Mehul decided to quit college and start something new, one of India's first jewelry brands, Jali. Today's company covers the full gamut from the affordable to the exquisite and the exotic. But while people see GITANJALI for the brands it has created, most people miss what it has done at the back end. making it one of the world's biggest integrated jewelry players. While Mehul is not forthcoming about his plans here, mining seems a little far off. The other bit of the story which is not very visible, Mehul, is the back end of what you do. Because apart from the fact that you have these brands, you have retail stores which reiterate the brands, you're also one of the biggest manufacturers. What's the story over there, and as you grow, what is the back end that you need to grow with it?
Well, to be very honest, Minnie, it's not really 4 or 5 steps. There are maybe 16 or 17 steps. There are 16 or 17 different profit centers before you get from rough diamond to the consumer. It's not 4 or 5 as what you think, that just polishing and manufacturing and this. If you see in the whole process, there are 16 or 17 different profit centers.
Like, give me 1 or 2 examples.
Once you import the rough diamond, then they're traded. The rough diamond is traded. So first profit center. After trading, it goes for polishing. After polishing, it goes for polish trading. After polish trading, it goes to a jewelry manufacturer. After that, jewelry manufacturers add on its profit as a factory. Then it will go to the brand or a wholesale. First it goes to the wholesale of jewelry. Then it will go to a branded jewelry. Then it will go to a wholesaler of jewelry, and retail it will become.
My God, and you have kind of skipped all this?
Yes, absolutely. So we are basically, for us, it's each one is a separate profit center. 2.
So where does your journey start in this?
No, we start from, we have been one of the first customer of DBS since 1966. So we also start from importing of rough. Of course, what we desire as a company to go into mining now, because that will complete the whole story.
Will you do that?
Absolutely. That would be one of our target, that.
But the last time I spoke to you, you said rather than looking at the back end of mining, I'm looking at the front end. Why would you want to go into mining? Where would you mine?
That will complete the whole story. We are one of the largest brand player in the world today, or the largest brand player in the world. We are the largest integrated player. Now only thing left in the whole story is the mining.
Mines will open up a whole new avenue for Gitanjali, and it is some time away. But for now, the other big piece that the company is looking at is this. Big manufacturing facilities like this one in Mumbai's Santa Cruz produce jewelry that go across showrooms in India. In fact, Gitanjali today has manufacturing plants across India and even China. This is a good strategy because not only does this help in standardization of quality, it ensures that Gitanjali makes money on its many acquisitions.
10 years before, the aim was to win Indians as far as jewelry is concerned, and the target was that whether there is a consumer buying 1,000 rupee jewelry or maybe crores rupees of jewelry, it will be from Gitanjali. Today the dream is international, that internationally if the consumer buys jewelry, they have to buy our product as a brand.
But that's a long drawn out kind of a hope, right?
Not really, to be very honest, we have been...
Because the world's a huge market. I mean, if India is 600,000 crores, what is the world?
At the end of the day, the production of this jewelry is mostly done in India. There are only 4 centers: India, China, Italy or Bangkok. As far as integrated player is concerned, the last step only to consumer, that's only we need to catch up. And as a brand, so basically we have been able to roll it out. We bought this American chain. It is one of our most successful operations, the 6th largest chain in America. It has 150 stores, and it gives us a total revenue of nearly more than $200 million. To achieve a $200 million market from an emerging market is not very easy, and that is why we went to developed market. But the entire supply chain is done by my factories. That's what I'm proud
all the manufacturing happens over here?
Absolutely. The same way Italian brands, when we bought it, the idea is very simple, that non-Indian jewelry, not Chinese jewelry, it's Italian jewelry which has a universal language.
And
anywhere in the world.
The premiumness is much higher.
Premiumness, and more than that everybody would desire. As far as when it goes to Indian jewelry, but probably the European people will not buy Indian jewelry because the fashion is completely different. But when it comes to Italian jewelry, this fashion is above anyone, and everybody desires to possess that.
So
that is the reason we bought it.
Is it fair to say that you went to Italy for the IP that they create?
Absolutely. It's not only IP,
could you do
a
backward integration of that into your manufacturing facilities here?
As far as our stones are concerned, not manufacturing, stones. The art of manufacturing, what they have is a cutter ball. So we can't match that. But the entire supply chain of diamonds, stones and everything will be done by us.
But can you do that better than the Italians have done?
Absolutely, absolutely. It is a very profitable model, but we can make inroads to the market like Japan or Saudi Arabia or China. We've just opened a shop of Italian brands in China, and now we are opening one in Singapore. So basically, it's a completely added value as far as companies concerned. This business we were never in. And you know, the European companies are in such a, these brands were some of the most celebrated brand. You know, so we are very proud to possess them. And it's a very interesting and very profitable model.
To understand the scale and spread that Mehul is working on, one has to also step back and look at the acquisitions that he has done. If the first tranche of acquisitions were from the De Beers stable when the world's largest diamond company decided to back off from these brands it had created, the next phase saw Mehul Choksi shop abroad, first within the US, making him now the 6th largest retailer in the world's largest market for jewelry, and then in Italy, the mecca of high-end brands. The hectic pace at which GITANJALI has expanded has raised many eyebrows.
But the fact of the matter is that when you look into very successful jewelers of the world, whether they are Cartier or whether they are Van Cleef and Arpels and even Tiffany or whatever else, each of these companies have succeeded in creating a brand which lasts for decades. So if GITANJALI is trying to achieve what has taken other companies 50 years, 100 years to do so, it will require significant amount of risk taking, it will require significant amount of financial investment. So I would not take anything away from them when it comes to making the right effort is concerned. I would still believe that they are experimenting, they are trying to create different formats, they are trying to experiment at different price points and different positionings. And some of this will work, some may not work.
If acquisitions have been costly, the cost of creating brands have been as high. In fact, there was a time in 2009 when many concerns were raised about whether the company was taking on too much.
Mesmerizes.
To be very honest, you know, as a marketer, the best period when the markets are slow. So all those opportunities, all those times have been rather opportunities for us. Even today when
Is that a nice thing to say, or is that genuinely?
No, it is genuinely. Even today when the market is slow, our profit margin widens because the sourcing is cheaper. The rough diamond is cheaper and the profit margin increases. In fact, last year was one of the craziest year as far as the prices went up like anything last year, right? So that was a more difficult time for us because we are mostly a marketer. And we never reduce the price on the brand because brands stand for themselves. Even in this time, when the market went down, we have increased the prices. Brand stands for itself. So basically, when the market is slower, it is better for us.
In a tough year like the last one has been, a profit growth of 65% is pretty good. But after the heady growth, Mehul seems to have set his eyes on a far bigger target. More on that when we return. If this was the image of GITANJALI Gems, the company Mehul Choksi has built over the last decade, the coming years could see a whole new avatar. Already the company has spread its net through the diamond value chain, from cutting and polishing rough diamonds to branding fine jewelry and selling dreams. The crux of Choksi's success, experts say, lie in the fact that he realized the values of branding early. But brand expert Jagdeep Kapoor, who helped GITANJALI in this journey, says that wasn't all.
The mandate that he had given was he'd like to build these brands and make them available and make sure that the growths are quantum jumps. If you look at Nakshatra, Asmi, Jili, Gidamas and a number of other brands, Mr. Mehul Choksi has 3 clean traits which we helped build. A, belief in branding. B, belief in distribution. And C, belief in growth.
Mehul Choksi may have got his first lessons in the art of marketing and brand building from the world's biggest diamond conglomerate. But he gave it a new twist by going closer towards the consumer. through outlets such as this. And here is where Mehul believes the next phase of growth could be.
7 of our brands are becoming national chain, and we have rolled out 4 different category of multi-branded stores too, and they are also multiplying. By each one of them have 50 stores by now already. We believe that over next 3 years time, 10 of our brands, 10 of our retail brands will have more than 200 stores. So far we were always proud that we have the highest number of shop-in-shop model or a product brand as a rolled out as a product brand like Shopper Stop or maybe in a retailer shop or somewhere, that we have nearly 4,000 point of sales. But I'm more proud to say that 10 years down we'll have a 4,000 exclusive shops for our brands.
What is also interesting is that simultaneously you're looking at unlocking value. I mean, one could argue that, you know, the whole concept of giving a value to brands, and you've given a over 2,500 crore valuation to...
It's 5,500.
5,000. I'm saying the first top 3 brands of yours is about 2,400 crores, right? Now, my question to you is that somewhere down the line, are you also looking at hiving these off into independent companies? Because you're also in the midst of a restructuring exercise.
They're all independent companies as such. It's just like the model of LVMH, that LVMH has so many brands like Dior or Kenzo. All these brands belong to LVMH, but each one of them stand on its own. As each of my brand companies are really growing at very fast pace, some of my brands like Nakshatra and Jili has crossed nearly 1,000 crore rupees mark, which is very creditable worldwide.
A lot of people who've commented on you say that you're trying to combine what LVMH did with what Tiffany's is doing with what De Beers has done. Is that a fair comparison?
It's completely different model. I personally very strongly feel that what LVMH has done in the world is highly commendable. They've done in a very short span of period. Probably he entered the market in 1985, and what he's achieved by now. But I feel the next giant is going to emerge from China or India. And I always believe that, and I'm certainly a contender for that particular position. But you must have seen that what my belief was, and what you've seen in the last 3 weeks, the Chow Tai Fook has become one of the largest billionaire in the world. He rolled out his chain to go public, and it's the valuation is nearly $1 billion. It's nearly $100 billion.
Mehul clearly has lofty ambitions as he pegs himself against one of Asia's best-known billionaires, 86-year-old Cheng Yu-tung, and his chain Chow Tai Fook, which controls the glitter business across China. So what do experts make of this ambition?
Gitanjali to create a model outside India, then they get headlong into competition with the global brands and the global players who have been in here for a number of decades and sometimes centuries. I don't think Gitanjali is big enough yet to compete with them. Their internationalization is something which I would not support. I would rather have them focus on branding effort as far as Indian market is concerned, not outside India.
But despite what critics say, Mehul Choksi believes that becoming the biggest player in the world in the jewelry business is not an unachievable dream. And perhaps he has the confidence because of where he started from. From a small branded jewelry counter in a small departmental store in Mumbai to become the largest branded jewelry player in India, with the 6th largest chain of jewelry stores across the US, a clutch of marquee brands in Italy, a growing presence in China, and the bulk of small-town India still untapped. You can't argue with that.